Welcome to the fifth episode of Ball Only. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is comparison. Uh, Talking about comparison because it's something that happens all the time in all forms of basketball. High school to college, college to NBA, NBA players to past NBA players, so on and so forth. Um, I don't really like doing comparisons. It's kind of like takes away from the joy of the game. Uh, from a quote that I heard from Kyrie Irving that Brad Stevens said to him. If you watch the Hot 97 interview that he did, um, he said Brad Stevens told him, "Comparison is the thief of joy." And when I heard that, it's kind of like it kind of really resonated, just because like it is. Uh, you know, when you're comparing people, I know it's just kind of something to do with basketball or any sport for that matter. Just to kind of create conversation, create kind of a drama around the game of some sort. Um, but uh, then again, it takes away from the joy of watching the game itself, because the whole time that you're watching someone like LeBron James or Paul George playing Kevin Durant, so on and so forth. You're just kind of comparing them to what other people have done instead of just enjoying what they're doing in the moment. And it's annoying to me when I see like something LeBron James did, like breaking a record, and then people are like, blah blah blah, LeBron or Michael Jordan's still better, or Kobe Bryant's better, etc. etc. Instead of just kind of like enjoying the fact that he did something that's amazing. He did some, or if he's breaking a record, it's something no one's ever done before. So the fact that people have to kind of tear that down just so they can say, their favorite player is better, so on and so forth. The 3 to 6 jokes, stuff like that. Um, it's just very annoying to watch. And it's something you see on like a lot of videos, a lot of like Instagram stuff with like Bleacher Report and stuff like that. And it gets annoying. So that's kind of my view on it. Especially when it comes to comparing eras, just because it's such a hard thing to do. Um, like people always compare the '90s to right now. They always say, the '90s was better. They had, you know, played better defense. They were more aggressive, better to watch, stuff like that. And then a lot of people are saying, or will say, that there's better competition in the league. People are more skilled. People are better at the game in general. Um, which, if you really think about it, is kind of a true statement. I understand that a lot of the rules have changed so that people are more, or so that offense is or the game is kind of more offensively focused on. Kind of with the defensive rules, it helped out a lot of the offensive players, and the way that they are able to play is now a lot easier for them. Um, and that's fine. That's not like it's gonna change anytime soon. But uh, with like comparing the skill level of the players from the eras, I understand that people don't go backwards with evolution. You know, we don't necessarily go, say like with science, you know, we don't learn less with science. We don't get worse at science. We're constantly learning more, learning how to do stuff better, how to, make better, more discoveries, how to, make better technology, stuff like that. And same, it kind of corresponds with basketball. People get better at shooting. People get better at, with their athleticism. People get better at being able to play for long periods of time. People get better at, defense even. Um, and, it's just something that's naturally going to happen within, um, you know, the human race. So it's not something that we can avoid, and it's not something that we can get out of the way of. It's just how the world works and how people work. Um, and a lot of the comparison kind of takes away from like what older generations did, because people will bag on like the people that Michael Jordan played with, or people will even bag on the people that LeBron played with, played against, stuff like that. And even further back with players like Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain, people will always say, oh, they played against plumbers, played against dentists, no one was over 6 feet, stuff like that. And you know, obviously, with it being kind of the beginning of the game, kind of in that era, it's naturally, people aren't gonna be at kind of like the peak of what they can do in that game, kind of not um, at the game's full potential, but it's, you should still be able to enjoy the game the way that it is, instead of trying to look back at what it was and trying to see if it measures up to how it is now. Being able to kind of make sure that you don't really compare. If that's what you like to do, that's fine. I can't do anything about it. Other people can't do anything about it. It's just something that I don't like to do. And I just think more people should me personally, I think more people should watch the game for what it is, instead of trying to compare all the time, or trying to compare players every time. When players are coming through the draft, uh, you know, like with Ben Simmons, it's like, oh, he's gonna be the next LeBron, or maybe so and so is gonna be the next Steph Curry, so and so is gonna be next Russell Westbrook, stuff like that. And at the end of the day, a lot of those guys are just trying to be their own player. They're not trying to be or LeBron James, Kevin Durant, so on. Not trying to be Steph Curry, and same with the people that are playing now. LeBron James is completely his own player, not trying to be Magic Johnson or MJ, or Michael Jordan, of course, not because MJ is could be Magic Johnson too. But moving on from that, LeBron James plays totally different than those two did. And I understand he's more of a playmaker like Magic Johnson, but you have to realize that he's never going to be exactly like those two. So I don't like to kind of look at it as what he does that other people have done. I just kind of like to look at it as what he does and how he does it well, very well actually, and how he is able to kind of make his own type of game in this world of basketball, and along with every other kind of player. It's not something that bugs me super a lot, or I don't know if super a lot is really a correct term, but I'm gonna use it anyways. So it's not something that bugs me super a lot, but it bugs me tiniest bit when I see it, just because like when I'm watching stuff, and then that's kind of like all I see, like as a response to it, it just kind of like, even though I'm not really doing the comparison, it's kind of like why do I have to see why should I have to be like kind of seeing that. I don't think that comparison shouldn't be happening. You know, I'm just trying to enjoy what I'm watching and not really trying to take a super deep dive into what's going on and kind of trying to compare, you know, what he's been doing to or what so and so's been doing to what this other person did, and even what people are doing like outside of basketball. With LeBron James, recently, I think it was yesterday, opening his own school for underprivileged kids, which is amazing. First of all, congratulations to him. That's an insane accomplishment. Uh, and first off, I've seen people like bag on that, and those type of people can just kind of like leave the planet if they want. But going on from that, people will compare that to like what Michael Jordan has done outside of basketball, and that is also kind of stupid to me, just because you know it's no one's obligated to you know do that kind of deed, if that makes sense. Michael Jordan doesn't have to open a school just so he can just because he played the basketball so well, because he secured his bag, got what he could from the game. That doesn't mean he's obligated to do everything he can for the community. He played the game so he can sustain himself because it's what he loved to do. Create his brand because it's what he wanted to do. So his obligation to help out the community whenever possible is non-existent. I understand that it's nice to do, but donating and stuff like that is never supposed to be an obligation. Even for someone just walking on the street, when you see like one of those Salvation Army buckets, you don't have to donate to those Salvation Army buckets, and Michael Jordan doesn't have to do all this charity work outside of basketball to be considered a great person, or to be considered a great player. And so even that comparison is kind of annoying to me. Um, yeah. So at the end of the day, if you want to be able to truly enjoy the game, in my opinion, try to avoid the comparisons as much as possible. I find it much more enjoyable because it's something I used to do personally. When I was a little bit younger, I kind of wasn't as experienced with the game. I was just kind of watching when I was first learning about it, and after I had kind of gotten that out of my system, after I kind of started to want to watch the game for what it is instead of trying to watch it for seeing who's the best player, comparing these different eras, stuff like that. I found myself watching it and kind of having a lot more fun watching it, just because I was in the moment more, instead of trying to watch it and then think in the back of my mind, who's done it better, what or are they doing it better? If there's something that they could be doing that would make them a lot better than what other people have done. But now that I've got that out of my system, I'm very glad that I did, because I very much enjoy watching the game, uh, a lot more from when I first started. And that's all I have for today. Uh, Tell me what you think in the comments down below. If you like the video, like, uh, you know, comment maybe, subscribe, share it if you want. Let me know what you want to hear next in the comment section as well. You can follow me on Instagram. Probably leave that in the description. Add me on Snapchat if you want. And that's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys have the day you desire.